Suppression of Moses, the black.
Thanks for making an amazing film.
Oh, thank
Um,
you for saying that.
yeah, and filming in my hometown of Chicago, particularly the West Side. So thank you.
One of the most important things was to make sure that people that live in the west side of Chicago, since that ended up being the choice and the story was happening there, and it was based on the life of Reginald Akeem Barry, the main character's
Hmm.
storyline, and he is from the west side of Chicago. He's your friend.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure that that was kind of my I was, that was a kind of big responsibility because I realized how important it was to, at least for me, to make sure that regardless, you try to do your best as a filmmaker, how great the film is going to be. Ultimately, it depends on many things, but I just at least wanted to make sure that it was truthful. And that was
Yeah.
that was very important to me. So
Very
you
truthful.
can elaborate on that because you are from there.
I was almost killed on that very street, Lake and Avers. So when I watched the opening scene, it just took me back to, that moment.
That's powerful. I mean, I can imagine, growing up. I mean, I'm from Serbia. I became American citizen, but I grew up in a place called Serbia. Today, it was Yugoslavia when I left for many many years after the war broke out and it became five different countries. I was still saying I was from Yugoslavia simply because when I was living there, it's like it was Yugoslavia.
Hmm.
And then I had to finally succumb to the fact to say, not that I am very proud I'm from Serbia, but it was kind of interesting because it was your country and then you don't have even that was gone. It was a little bit confusing, but there's always something happening there. That area, the First World War started there, the Second World War,
Yeah.
uh, during the Ottoman occupation that lasted for 500 years, that ended in with the Balkan Wars, in the early 1900s, 500 years of slavery.
You
So,
understand struggle.
so I understand what it means when, for whatever reason, uh, somebody wants to change your history.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't like you. They feel that you should not exist. For whatever reason that may be.
Listen, I mean, I can certainly identify with all of that. So for me, I lived in an area called K Town. So every street starts with a K where I
Really?
live. Yeah, Costner, Kenneth, Kilbourne, Colmar, all of that. So you had K Town, L Town. But that's where I'm from, K Town. And in this particular area, there was a different gang than where I went to school. I went to school right around the corner from um, where this incident took place, with the individual and the police that you guys depict in the film. So I went
Mhm.
to school right around the corner in Sacramento, which was a different gang from the neighborhood where I lived. So there was a lot of tension and a lot of beef within a maybe 20 square block radius. There was a lot of things that were happening in that very small, condensed place. So you have to know how to navigate those streets. Now, would I take the lessons that I've learned from it? Would I trade it? No, no. I think that area has produced some of the most brilliant minds, some of the most talented individuals. And you mentioned that one common thread, which is faith.
Yes.
And most of our people, they come from the South, okay, whether it's from South Carolina all the way down to Florida. Like, we come from the South. And during that time, the only way we were able to make it over was through our faith in Christ, which, by the
Amen.
way, yes, which, by the way, I have to salute you for being unapologetic in being a believer in Christ. Because in a room filled with the individuals that were there to be able to share your faith, I salute you for
No,
that.
thank
Yeah,
God for that. We all gonna leave this world one day. It can happen anytime. I mean, especially very well even in Chicago. I've spoken to Akeem so many times. I mean, it's amazing to hear how many lives are lost on daily basis. Maybe people that live in their neighborhoods that are much safer, they don't realize. Maybe they think they're gonna live forever in this world, but
yeah,
no, we are not. And to me, the most important is, and I really strongly believe, and I've experienced this in my heart. That's something that, you and I are talking, we are on the same frequency and we can elaborate on this. I feel that uh, that life will begin the day when I leave this world. I really believe that. And is it because life was so hard? Is it because I know what it means to live only on faith? Uh, is it sometimes you see people, and I'm talking now about my people from Serbia. Sometimes they would go like, "Oh, only God can help us. Only God." And
yeah,
sometimes people are tired of that. They go like they don't want that. They're like, "Well, I wanna live. I don't want to be always going through wars, and which you understand. You want to live in peace."
yeah.
But this is very interesting, and that if we go a little deeper spiritually, if you want to have this conversation, and I've experienced this, and I've even put this in a movie, and I think it was my experience that I put in there, but it looked like that Akeem understood very well. He experienced that when he was in prison, for example. Is that when you're in the most difficult situation, when it feels that there is no way out whatsoever. This is when I've experienced the presence of God the most, in the most vivid, most powerful way, when there was no doubt that His existence was real. And I'm not. Maybe there are people that are way more holy than I am. I'm sure they are. I don't consider myself holy or good or anything, but that can experience that on regular basis. And sometimes you can see people, and these people are usually very simple. They don't usually possess very much. They don't care about the worldly things. You see, this is what, like, where you can see this love and this simplicity and humility, and they're not afraid of anything. They're just simply meek. This is and their yoke is easy. Therefore, whatever they go through, they're able to they just have this grace, and
Yeah.
while they're in this world, which is very cruel, by the way. I mean, you and I are lucky right now. We're talking over the Zoom, but there are many people out there right now as we speak.
Yeah.
They're suffering immensely, and I know that in entertainment industry, they don't want you to talk about it, and this is not what I'm sorry, this is what, and I know that I made a movie that uh it bothers a lot of people that have a certain agenda, that when you mention the man of God, they just disintegrate into dust, but
Yeah.
I that's their problem. That's not my problem. And I know that from my personal experience, I know that if it wasn't for my faith, I wouldn't be around. So me as a
Hmm.
person who I believe I love people, I love my friends, my family, people that I meet, I would always share, like the same way I would share with my son, with my daughter. I would share this. I would share the message of hope. I would tell people that, hey, if you stay close to God, you will find a way out. You will have the peace that this world cannot give you.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
there is no human being in this world, whether they claim they believe or they don't believe. There's no human being in this world who doesn't like to be loved, who doesn't like to have peace,
Yeah.
who doesn't. It's just simply there's no such thing.
Yeah.
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 So whatever you want to call that, whatever you identify that with, and again, only God knows the hearts of men. I cannot be the one saying, "Oh, I believe you." I don't fall in. I don't talk about that. I don't. I express this for the right reasons, for the reasons of trying to share something that has helped me personally,
Hmm.
and in hope that it might help somebody else. Will it or not? I don't know, but that was the main reason
Yeah.
for me making this film.
I want to talk about what happened in with the theaters with Moses the Black. Like what took place because after watching the movie at the premiere, I was excited to see it come to the theaters. I'd actually heard about it prior to the premiere and was very excited about Moses the Black. But what took place with the theaters?
Uh, Initial opening weekend, 300 theaters were pulled from the opening weekend, and the things were starting to change and move around, and especially even in the inner cities and places like Cicero in Chicago, and and I remember Akeem calling me, Yelena, we were ready to go. I mean, he was telling me about John, who is in a movie. His mom bought the tickets in the theater. She was refunded without any explanation, and so clearly something happened. So we were like, we reacted right away. We called our distributor, and they were, I mean, it's not them directly, it's the theaters, and they just were really, you could see that they were in shock. And they said, for 8 years, as long as we've been around, we have never seen anything like this. And you're gonna hear something that you said. And she said it herself. She said, if this was one of those films where everybody just killed each other at the end and there was no hope, they would have no problem. But it's this ending that is supposed to give people hope. This is why they did this. And I'm not saying this. I'm hearing people from Chicago saying this.
I think the image of someone growing a conscience and being spiritually aware, like giving away what took place in the movie with Omar Epps, you know, um, having a spiritual awakening. Um, and for me, that would be to Christ, just to make it clear.
Hmm.
But to have that and then to have an ending where it didn't end in, um, well, there was a level of repentance.
Yes.
That was one of the biggest things. Like, if it had just been, you know, kill, murder, shoot, kill, murder, shoot, oh, it would be all over the place. When we grow a conscience and really start to figure out something is happening to us, something is taking place in the background, there's a puppet master that's pulling some strings, that's putting the liquor stores on every corner, that's making sure that the schools in the inner cities are being shut down. But the imagery of somebody saying, I want to stop the violence and it's going to end with me and
Mhm.
I'm going to take accountability for what I've done to others. That image is so damaging because it is so much profit when it comes to Black death. I was just talking to some buddies of mine just last night, and we were talking about the concept. We're in LA, right?
Okay.
We hardly ever see funeral cars and funeral homes, right? You
Yeah.
hardly ever see it. I've been in now 15 years. I've
Hmm.
seen maybe three or four funeral cars, the
Okay.
hearse. I've seen maybe three of them, three or four,
Yeah, you're right. When you
right?
think about it,
You,
that's
you,
yeah,
you don't really
probably
see
true.
it.
Yeah.
In Chicago, let's just take Madison, Pulaski,
Mhm.
Cicero, Roosevelt. On any given Saturday, you're going to see a funeral procession down any one of those roads on any given week. They used to have a place on Madison Street, right on the west side. There used to be a thing called the Casket Store. Now this is crazy. So why would you put a casket store on the
Casket store.
a casket store on the west side of Chicago? So there's profit in the death of our people, and it's sad. And I think
That's horrific. Yeah.
what your movie does is it allows people to reflect on what it is that they're doing. There's another thing, there's another layer that I think is threatening.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Black people existed before the 1600s,
Yeah.
and who Black people are
Yeah.
really. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a hidden history,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lineage of people that I think, quite honestly, there are some that don't want the Black community to really understand
Mm-hmm.
just who they are.
Yeah. To
And
understand that the New Testament, the Bible was,
absolutely,
of course, not written, it was written by the apostles, but it was a Black African man that
yes. Well, listen, I mean,
that compiled, so this is something that maybe, yeah, okay.
yeah, that's a that's a deeper
Conversation. Yeah,
level.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, but I guess we can have that one too, maybe at a different time,
At a
but
different
I
time,
like in
exactly.
totally in depth. But I do think, excuse me, I do think that again, I spoke about imagery
Mm-hmm.
and images, and the idea because in most Black culture, we're not sold that the image of a Black person is either a hero, an overcomer, someone who's done something exceptionally well. That's not the image that's sold to Blacks. If Blacks understood the role that we have in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
and who we really truly are according
Mm-hmm.
to the Bible,
Yeah.
if Blacks understood that the Bible has everything to do with Black history,
Mm-hmm.
when
100%.
yeah, when you think about the region in which the Bible took place,
Mm-hmm.
you can't remove Black people from the region. But we're never told the stories of of images like the one you just showed me of a person who lived during that time
Mm-hmm.
in that region, and also too, now I understand the parallels between Moses the Black and the role that
Yes. And
Omar
the
Epps
road, Omar.
played.
Yes. Yes.
So now that makes 100% sense now because I get it. But the image of that individual, coupled with faith,
Mm-hmm.
coupled with stopping the killing,
Yes.
I think those are the three things that are most threatening with this movie.
Suppression of Moses, the black. Truth live longer than the sky. Suppression of Moses, the black. But the name still talks right back.